Thanks for downloading a 3CR podcast. 3CR is an independent community radio station based in Melbourne, Australia. We need your financial support to keep going. Go to www.3cr.org.au for more information and to donate online. Now stay tuned for your 3CR podcast.
3CR.
We are still fired up and we're still talking about revolution.
Hello and welcome to the Doing Time Show. This is 3CR Community Radio, 855 AM on the dial, streaming live on www.3cr.org.au. This is Marissa and I'll be taking you through until 5 o'clock this evening. First up on the show, we will be speaking with Dylan Voller, one of the courageous young men who went to the Royal Commission about the atrocities that happened in Don Dale Detention Centre. Dylan joined us very briefly last week in this, live in the studio by phone, and he was speaking a bit about the intervention and what happened at some of the panels that were reviewing what happened over the 10 years of the intervention. Listeners may recall that the Doing Time show provided extensive coverage about what happened to the teens in the Northern Territory. Spit hoods, torture and tear gas. We will speak with Dylan today. Not so much about that, because I'm sure he's spoken quite a lot about that in the media, but we'd like to speak to Dylan about his release from prison and look at his perspective about solutions. What can be done to help young people today, in particular Aboriginal people? After that, we'll speak with Ken Cannings from ISJA Sydney about a protest demanding an end to Aboriginal deaths in custody. Rebecca Maher, 36, was found dead in a cell at Maitland Police Station at 6 a.m. on July 19th. She was the first Aboriginal death in New South Wales police custody since 2000. We will focus on Rebecca Maher and look at answers and look at what could have been done to prevent that death and actually look at the protest that's happening in New South Wales. So, yeah, I'll be doing an announcement now. Playing an announcement and putting Dylan through shortly for our first interview.
Want to support 3CR's diverse and independent voices? Well, it's not too late and we still need your support. Donate now by calling 9419 8377 or donate online at www.3cr.org.au or post us a cheque or money order to Post Office Box 1277, Collingwood 3066.
And you're back with the Doing Time show. Dylan has been unavailable, so we may need to speak to him later on in the show. We've had some technical difficulties around that, but in the meantime, we'll instead speak with Ken Cannings from ISJA. Hello, Ken.
Hello, how are you today? Good?
Not too bad, Ken. Not too bad. I hope everything's okay for you to do the interview.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm home and
that's lovely.
Out of noise of traffic. Yeah,
that's fantastic. So, Ken, I was just introduced the material about the protest that's coming up that ISJA Sydney is organising, and I believe you're from ISJA yourself, yeah?
Yeah, I'm a member of ISJA, yeah. So,
could you just talk about the protest and discuss what actually happened to Rebecca? I believe it was an Aboriginal death in custody, and let us know some of the demands of the protest.
Well, the protest is on Wednesday, 19th of July at 11:30, north end of Hyde Park where the fountain is. We're going to Parliament House, and our demands are quite simple. What happened? Why was she arrested? Now, there's a lot of very, very unusual and suspicious circumstances around the arrest of young Miss Maher. Is that the first report was she was arrested for being drunk and disorderly, which was not the case. The second report was coming from the police was they received a phone call. They haven't said who from yet. A member of the public that she was acting in a disorientated manner. Subsequently, toxicology reports had come back and said there was no drugs or alcohol in the system whatsoever. So the question begged, why was she even picked up in the first place?
Absolutely.
The question begs. Now, the second point is where this really infuriates me, is that the police at Maitland, when they were asked directly by the Aboriginal Legal Service, why didn't you enact the custody notification service? They said, we didn't know she was an Aboriginal person. And the legal service put straight back on them and said, look, an incident happened some time ago, a minor incident, where you notified us and told us she was an Aboriginal person because you enacted the custody notification service on her then. So and the legal service said, well, we don't know everybody in the area, so we don't know who's Aboriginal and who's not, but you told us this woman is Aboriginal. So we've got our information of her Aboriginality from you people. And they couldn't answer that. They kept saying to her, kept putting on to her, well, why didn't you enact the custody notification service? And they still have not given any clear answer as why they didn't enact the custody notification service. The only thing they've ever said is we didn't know she was an Aboriginal person. Well, the reason we knew about Rebecca Maher was from them, from the coppers themselves. So two glaring points there. If the toxicology report says there's no drug and alcohol in the system, why was she picked up? If they say a member of the public rang and said she was in a distressed manner or acting in a distressed manner, why not that person come forward?
Yeah.
Why don't we know about this mysterious person? It's like I could ring up and say, you're acting a bit irrationally, pick her up, So that's a bit ridiculous. If we're to take that word on it, well, the cops would be running around all night. I'm sure that, you'd like to play a prank on your neighbour and say, my neighbour's a bit distraught or distressed. Let's lock them up for the night. So the other thing is, without the custody notification service, this woman died. Their neglect was that she shouldn't have been arrested in the first place. Then their neglect comes into play. Is she's left in a cell for 6 hours without anybody checking her. She died. Now, we haven't got any information from the coroner's report yet of the cause of death. There's been no information given out on the cause of death. There's a whole lot of unanswered questions. She's unsupervised for 6 hours. And so she's dead. The police killed her. It's as simple as that. Now, they've either done it directly or they've done it through sheer and utter negligence of duty, which caused her death. And that, to me, is the same as a murder.
It is indeed.
What's surprising here, and this happens, Marissa, you know the same yourself, this happens time and time and time again, that the police commit offences while on duty.
Yep.
Now, they're criminal acts. If you're a civilian and you cause death by negligence, you'll go to jail. But if you're in a government position, you'll be stood aside until the court case is over. These people are still on active duty. Now, they didn't enact the CNS. They should have been stood down immediately. The people responsible should have been stood down from duties immediately. And
absolutely.
The fact that somebody is dead, it should have been even doubly so. They should not be on active duty. These people are incapable of doing their jobs. The proof of the matter is a young woman lost her life at their hands. They're incapable of doing their job. That's the very least. At the very worst, they've got stuck into her and killed her. That's
Why didn't they ring the notification service anyway? That was active at the time in New South Wales, wasn't it?
Well, it was active at the time. No, we have never received, us or the family have never received a reason from the New South Wales Police Force why that was not enacted. They refused to answer that question.
No,
the only answer they've ever given was we didn't know she was an Aboriginal person. That's rubbish. That's utter rubbish. We knew the Aboriginal Legal Service. As soon as her name came out, the Aboriginal Legal Service knew she was an Aboriginal death in custody because the Maitland Police, on another occasion, had enacted a CNS on her. So why not this time?
So Rebecca is a mother of four and a Wiradjuri woman?
Yes, and the other thing too, 6 hours left unattended, and then it was a further 6 hours after they found her body that they took to notify her mother.
Oh.
What was going on there? Why take that long?
Yeah.
This whole case stinks of corrupt killing, and this is again. I don't call them deaths in custody anymore. They're murders in custody. If it could be preventable, and it's not, it's a murder. A death in custody implies that the person could have just died of natural causes. Even if this woman had died of an illness, the neglect and not enacting the CNS, that was the cause of death. That's a murder.
Absolutely.
And by leaving her in a cell for 6 hours unattended, if there was something wrong with her, that was intentionally done. I mean, you can't sit in a police station and leave somebody there for 6 hours and not look at them. That's an act of intent. That's murder.
And it certainly contravenes the Royal Commission, recommendations of the Royal Commission.
Well, it certainly contravenes a lot of the recommendations of the Royal Commission, but it contravenes something that hardly anything got enacted upon in the Royal Commission, but the Custody Notification Service certainly did in New South Wales, and they failed to enact on it. They breached their duties. They should not be working. That's the whole point.
They should not indeed, and police should not be investigating police.
Yeah, you can't have the police investigate. No, that's got to go. You know, you've got to have an independent legal bodies investigating these people. They're going to cover themselves up. You can't arrest somebody and then find out there's no reason for the arrest, and then that person's dead after not being checked on in custody, and the whole breach of protocol from the Royal Commission is just thrown out the window. You can't have another copper investigating them. They'll sit down over a few beers, the same as happened in the case of Hurley, when he was first investigated in the first few assault charges. His mate sat down in his veranda on a few beers, and they had a few drinks together, and then he was found that he had no case to answer. That was before he killed Mr. Dormangy. Do we want to see repeats of this again and again and again? And if they allow police to investigate police, particularly in country towns like that, it'll be done in the Maitland public bar while they're having a big laugh together.
Yeah,
so,
it's
pathetic. The whole system's an absolute joke.
It's rotten and racist and corrupt.
It is. It's entirely racist, and the whole thing is a complete imbalance, because if it was you or I who acted like that, we'd be in prison now.
Yeah,
These people are still on duty, allegedly upholding the law. These are the people that are supposed to be keeping the peace and upholding the law and ensuring nobody breaks the law. They're breaking it themselves in the worst possible way. They're causing death.
What's interesting too, Ken, is I don't know if you have seen this pattern, but certainly in Victoria alone, I've read a few reports where, you know, young white men have been picked up for being drunk and disorderly, or young white women, and yeah, sure, they go into custody, but they're released to their parents, you know,
yes. Or driven
within
home.
5 hours.
Here in New South Wales.
Correct.
Happens here in and around Sydney. Sometimes the young white kids don't make it to the cells. They get driven home to their parents.
Yeah.
Teenage kids get driven home to their parents. Our kids get locked up.
They get locked up, exactly.
So, you know, this is something that's got to be addressed right across the board. Why if you're a white boy, white girl running around blind drunk, are you just a young person sowing their wild oats? You young black kid out drunk or, you know, mucking around, you're a danger to society. Why? And you potentially, this is that serious that if any of our people, and I've been saying this for many years now, any of our people picked up for any offence, it's potentially a death sentence. And this proves it. This woman got picked up for doing nothing.
Exactly. She was apparently seen walking intoxicated. The police were concerned for her welfare. Why didn't they take her to the notification service? Especially,
if they were concerned for her welfare, they would have enacted the Custody Notification Service. One of our people would have been there if there was a sign of any ill health or anything. A doctor would have been there. She would be with us today. We wouldn't be going through this. Her mother wouldn't be going through the whole trauma.
Absolutely.
Of, you know, losing a child and having to raise her grandchildren. Now she's going through trauma. And this is what they do to us, and they don't care, because they're not. If any human being cared, they would had any care whatsoever, they would take responsibility for their actions, even if it meant they were going to pay the penalty for it. They would take responsibility. They do not care.
Absolutely. And ISJA, with the family approval, is organising a rally to march to Parliament to demand answers. Yeah, the parents,
the family don't want to be in it. I think, you know, it's a small town where they are, and it's it's a bit risky for them, but we've got permission to hold the rally from the family, and we'll be trying to make a bit of noise about this, so it won't. this can't, it's just getting too much, and we say it all the time. We can't let these deaths. We're still fighting for answers for TJ Hickey, 11 years later. People are still fighting for answers for murders over 40 years ago.
Absolutely.
We can't let any one of them go. We can't let any one of these deaths go unanswered. We just got to keep going. Look at the Barraville people that, although a policeman didn't do that, the police certainly didn't investigate it, and there was some issues of police cover-ups, over a quarter of a century, and they might get justice, might. It's just a might at the moment. You can't, and this is how long it's taking our families and our people to fight for justice. That doesn't happen in any other race of people on this planet.
Absolutely. It's 1788 all over again. And in fact, Ken, when I spoke to Patricia, who is the auntie of Daniel Briscoe, you would have understood that was the case when he was killed in custody. She said all deaths in custody, which is cool. I mean, I get that. We have to look at all deaths. However, we can't alter the fact that Aboriginal people have died at a more alarming rate. Ken, we've actually got our next interview on the line. We've managed to grab him.
Right, young Dylan, tell him good day for me. Yeah.
I will. You know Dylan, do you?
Well, I haven't met him. We was all spoken over the phone, but I know his
lovely
mother
young man
very well, and his sister Kira. They're lovely people, and he's a good kid himself. He's doing. I'll tell you what, this fella, he hasn't let him beat him.
He's pretty amazing.
For this young fella.
Yeah, and I'm hoping we can talk to him. But Ken, I really appreciate your flexibility, and thank you so much, and good luck with the protest. And we'll be talking with you shortly.
Thanks very much.
Thanks
See
a
you
lot.
Later.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye.
And that was Ken Cannings from ISJA Sydney. Next up, I believe we have Dylan on the line. Hello, Dylan. Welcome to the program.
Thanks.
Great to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's approximately 4:16 and you're listening to the Doin' Time Show. And we just finished speaking to Ken Cannings from ISJA Sydney about Rebecca Maher, who died in custody. And actually, Dylan, Ken says hello. Do you remember Ken?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I heard him. Yeah, I've got a few yarns with him.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, Dylan, I'm wondering if you could start off. You did join us briefly in the studio last week, and I think your battery was flat on your phone.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if you could just talk to us a little bit, not so much about what happened inside, because I'm sure you've talked a lot about that, haven't you? About what happened in the prison, and we all know about that. But I'm wondering if you could talk more about your release and what happened, and some of you're with Bushmob now, right?
No,
is that finished?
I've actually completed that program about a month ago.
Could you tell us about that program and what support you got out of it?
Well, that program is actually a one-of-a-kind program. I got a lot of support from them guys. Most of the workers out there, Will McGregor and that, they come to work just to be able to do their job. And they give them more support than most programs and rehabilitation centres. They helped me a lot when I was there.
That's great. So what sorts of activities did you do, Dylan?
We go out bush, riding horses, barbecues.
Yep.
Stuff like that. They help us get our driver's licences or help us find work, go to school.
Fantastic. And so how did you get released? What actually happened? Because I know that one stage you were going to serve the rest of your sentence, weren't you?
Yeah. So the parole process kept denying me parole, and I actually took a few goes. My lawyers tried for a prerogative of mercy. That was knocked back, and then we applied to have my sentence changed. And Justice Barr gave me bail to see how I'd go for 4 months. And then he gave me bail, and I proved myself and finished the bushmob rehabilitation program. And then he changed my sentence to a suspended sentence, and now I've got 3 months left, and then I'm completely free.
How do you feel about that?
It's a weird feeling. I've only been free once since I was 11 years old, so it's a weird feeling.
To be honest, I'm actually really glad that all that stuff that happened to you guys inside, all the spit hoods and the chair restraint and everything, it sparked the Royal Commission into youth detention.
Yeah.
Are you? How do you feel about that commission? What do you think that commission helped or not?
I do, but it just depends on what the recommendations come out of it, and if the Northern Territory government is going to action those recommendations. But the Royal Commission should have been expanded way further than Northern Territory. I mean, I've seen stuff happening and heard of stuff happening in Queensland, Sydney. So I think there needs to be more of an investigation into those detention centres and youth places, rehabilitation centres, whatever it is, over in other states as well.
You know, I'll tell you something, Dylan. I remember really clearly reading a report, and your sister is just such a strong advocate for you, and she said that while you were in prison, you would have reacted with kindness. That's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
What sort of support do you think you could have got in prison?
I think just the guards, instead of wanting to restrain us more, be able to sit down and have a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that restraining, would you say it was mostly Aboriginal people, or was it all young teens across the board?
Funny to say that there's juvenile centres up there, pretty much all Aboriginal anyway, but it was mainly Aboriginal.
Yeah, yeah. And in fact, last week we were speaking about the intervention and what happened on those panels, but the youth detention stuff, that's really a part of the intervention in a way, isn't it?
Yeah.
How would that be?
Well, the intervention impacts Indigenous people too much. I mean, the restrictor laws, I mean, look at the no alcohol in down camp policy. Not only for youth people, but I guess the welfare don't really give much juveniles and that chances or anything like that.
Yeah.
They don't really connect you back with family or anything like that either.
That's right. So is it true that you're going to be leading a protest to shut down youth detention centres?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, it's called the National Day of Action. So we just want to be able to make sure that the Royal Commission is going to implement and the government's going to implement stuff. And we think that there's more solutions than detention centres. I mean, at the start of the Royal Commission, we heard about things like the healing centres and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I have, with many of other people, think that this is a good idea. Even possibly, I mean, there's a lot of remote communities around Alice Springs and around Australia. And if you go to those communities, all you can see is non-Indigenous people running those communities now. They own the shops, they run the shops.
Yep.
Why can't we have these young kids that are getting in trouble going into prison, taken out bush, and instead of, torturing them, restraining them, abusing them, making them feel like they're nothing, why can't we have them working in our shops and running the shops around the communities, or working and building our cattle yards and stuff like that?
Yeah,
with a decent wage. Not, I mean, in the detention centres these days, and even the adult prison. I mean, I know people. While I was working in there, cutting the prison's grass, and doing maintenance on the ground and stuff for $20 a week, what someone on the outside will get $2,000 for.
Yeah, degrading, isn't it?
Pretty much slave labour all over again, but hiding it.
Yeah. So you're saying that if those kids can be taken out bush, that would have benefited them far more.
Exactly. Put them out there with the elders and unite. I mean, at the moment it's too much white people can do better, black people can do better. Get together and mix it with a bit of, non-Indigenous and Indigenous. I mean, Indigenous people have their answers to what our kids need. I mean, back in the days, Dr. Giannini at the conference, even he said, take them out bush with the elders, leave them out there for a couple of weeks with just elders, give them the basic water and sit down and let the elders talk to them to sort the problems out.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you something, Dylan. I, along with my other radio broadcasters in here in the Doing Time show, we interviewed the Human Rights Law Centre in 2015, long before the Four Corners special came out. Like the government knew a long time before that Four Corners published the material that people were suffering in there. That's what really gets to me.
Exactly. And I mean, I've just had the welfare department up here I'm not being given proper answers, but some of my welfare files have been found out at the dump, out at the tip shop on for sale.
For what?
Out of the tip shop where everyone goes and chucks all their old cabinets and stuff like that. The Department of Children and Families didn't empty out their cabinet or anything before they dropped it off there. My files were, along with, I think it was 33 different clients of the Department of Children and Families files were found out at the tip shop.
And where are they now?
They said they've got some of it back, but they can't count up all of it there.
Yeah, it's appalling. And, I mean, to be honest, I'm not really interested in talking about what you're in for. To me, that's not really, important, because what's important is that you have healed and that, that you're going to serve out your sentence and you're going to be happy and get on with your life and not, and not have any more crimes.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's approximately 4:25 and you're listening to an interview with Dylan. And Dylan, also just one last question in regards to, just to talk a little bit more about solutions. What other supports do you think you need now?
I think I've got enough support to get me through. I think there's a lot of other young kids that's still in there, and even adults that need a lot more support.
Yes.
I guess the people in there aren't getting it. I guess I'm just lucky that my face got special over the TV and I got a bit more support from everyone around Australia and around the world.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's not the point. The point is that I'm not the only one that got tortured. There's a lot of other people that had to suffer.
Thank you.
And those young kids don't get enough recognition.
I mean, who knows what's going on there now? Like, none of those guards were acquitted.
Exactly.
It's really quite frightening.
Yeah.
I mean, I was saying before, it's 1788 all over again. There's been changes, but then there hasn't been enough.
Yeah.
Dylan, thank you so much for coming onto the program, and hopefully we can have you on as an update once that protest is happening.
Yeah. Well, if everyone all over the country should tune in and find out where their local statesman will be held. I mean, trying to get the right permission to shut down the Sydney Harbour Bridge, Alice Springs. We're trying to get everyone to join in all over to get better outcomes instead of detention centres and get better outcomes for our youth.
Absolutely. And Dylan, I don't mean to sound overbearing, but do be careful, won't you, at that protest? We don't want the cops, trying to get you again.
Yeah, no, we want a peaceful protest with the right approval.
Absolutely. Good on you, Dylan. Thanks so much. And on behalf of the Doing Time show, we support all youth. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye. And that was Dylan Voller, who spoke about a number of issues, and in particular spoke about a lot of solutions that could be happening within youth detention, and without as well, in particular for young Aboriginal people. It's approximately 4:27, and we're going to be going in with a song now while we wait for our third interview. And this song is by Kutcha Edwards, and it's called Why. And you're back with the Doing Time show, and we're just going to be speaking with Vicky Roach now, from New South Wales, from Sydney. Hello, Vicky. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Marissa. How are you?
Good. Now, are you comfortable? Do you want us to call you back, or are you okay? You all right?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, but it's great to have you, Vicky. We just finished speaking to Dylan, actually.
Oh, okay. I wasn't listening.
No, but that's okay. You can always listen to it on the internet during the week. But Dylan actually spoke a lot about solutions to what can happen with young people in detention. It was really interesting.
Oh, look, Dylan's going to be a wonderful role model up there.
Absolutely. And what was particularly striking about the interview, Vicky, is that he spoke a lot about the fact that all youth need to be helped. It wasn't just in the Northern Territory, but across the whole of Australia.
No, well, that's right. And you see now all the stories coming out in other states of similar abuses occurring and children being put in adult centres. There should have, right from the very start, been a national Royal Commission.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Vicky, last week I organised with Merritt, the media coordinator there with Rollback the Intervention, to speak to Dylan about the intervention, but we didn't get to speak to him much because his battery was flat. And and I feel that we didn't really get a cross-section of people to speak about what happened on the panels, and we thought we'd invite you on the show just for you to talk about what happened, what your experiences were in the Northern Territory, and who was on the panel, and your own speech, of course, what was talked about.
The panel I was on was just myself and Dylan, and a lot of people found that, I don't know, I suppose a bit confronting, because here's Dylan, not yet 20, and here's me, not quite 60, and we've both been through similar abuses in the same system. And like, I'm just going through the Royal Commission for things that happened to me 50 years ago, and exactly the same things are still happening now. And I'm sitting next to a young man that even worse things have happened to. You know, nothing's changed. Nothing's gotten any better. And you know, Alice Springs, the Northern Territory, is it's like a war zone.
Tell us about that.
Imagine Palestine.
Yep.
It's like the place has been bombed, except it hasn't.
Yeah.
It's just been bombed with poverty. And the poverty is imposed. It's enforced, if anything. As a city girl, I was just totally culture shocked and couldn't believe that a whole town could treat people in this way. But they do, and the saddest thing for me was finding that so many people were used to it. You know, we've been living this.
It's normal.
Yeah, it's not. They don't like it. But it's kind of resignation, I suppose.
You know, Vicky, I can relate. I went to the Northern Territory myself. It was some years ago now, but I'm sure it hasn't changed that much. You know, you had Aboriginal people living on the beach, you know, and police everywhere.
Oh, that was the most confronting thing. The cops.
Yeah.
Like, I came home and just walk into a bottle shop and, you know, I don't have to worry about a thing. You know, I didn't actually out there either. But even that made me feel bad. I wanted them to hassle me, but they didn't.
Oh. Hey, mate. Maybe you need a glass of wine to chill out, eh, Vicky? So you were talking a bit before about how you were sitting with Dylan on this panel, and you know there was a range. You know, you're a different age to him, and you're saying the same things have happened. When you say the same things, can you tell us a little bit about that? That the same things have happened to you.
Well, we didn't have the all this. they call it modern technical stuff.
Yep.
Like the mechanical restraints and the spit hoods. We had straitjackets.
Yep.
And they just throw you in a cell.
Same thing.
Yeah, pretty much. And the physical and sexual abuse was pretty much the same too. But it's so, well, I suppose it was back then too, condoned. Like, everybody thinks it's okay because these people have done something wrong and they deserve what they get. But they don't. Mm-hmm. Nobody deserves that.
And we need communities.
Nobody deserves that.
No. That's right.
And it's just, like, I could feel how traumatised Dylan would be from being treated like that. But to his credit, he's come through it a strong young man.
Yeah, I called him up just before he was being interviewed and he said, I'm just getting a haircut. And I just thought, it's the little things that matter. He was getting a haircut and the other day he was at work and all those things that you can't have in prison, you can't just go and have a haircut or go and eat something, No,
he went out with a girl the other night.
We better be careful we don't say too much.
It's just beautiful.
It's beautiful. Like it's. I'm so happy for him, and and as he said in the interview, he hopes that imagine the young people that are still suffering in prison, and we were talking about the fact that the guards hadn't even been acquitted. Had been acquitted or hadn't even been charged.
Oh no, I think it might have been just speaking at the Royal Commission.
Yeah.
But one of them, his defence was that he had a childlike IQ. Look, what the hell was the guy doing with a childlike IQ?
Yeah. Well, what was he doing in there?
In the first place.
I know.
I know we hire prison guards for their low IQs, so they'll take orders. But that's ridiculous. And
get them to do counselling. Why don't they go and do training for counselling, and then put them back? See what happens.
What
the guards?
The guards
train them.
No, the way they train them, they train them to be like that. That's right. They train them to dehumanise, like the people that they're supposed to be supervising. They train them to dehumanise them so that they can carry out those duties. It's the Stanford experiment. I don't know if you would have come across that. It's quite old. It goes back to the 70s, I think, or might be even the 60s.
Yep.
And just got a bunch of students, said you're the guards, and another bunch and said you're the prisoners, and locked them in a basement. And within a couple of days, or within 6 days, I think it was, they had to call off the experiment because the guards had become so brutal towards the inmates that were all just acting.
Well, that's why all the spit hordes happened, the fact that they had to defecate into pillows and all sorts of things.
Well, that allows the guards to further dehumanise you because look what he did. He shat in his pillowcase, Or look what he did. He spat in my face, It's all, they kind of force you into those positions. Correct. And then call your name.
So it's the us and them mentality. I mean, Dylan was mentioning a solution, for example, take with the elders, take the young people out bush so they can connect more with the elders and then it would be better.
Just about every single person I spoke to up there, and look, not just up there, everywhere I've been, Sydney, Victoria, Queensland, Adelaide, I haven't been to Perth, but everywhere I've been, that's what all the elders say.
Believe me, Vicky, I've been to Perth, and it's all honestly, from my perspective, it's almost like the Northern Territory. You have police. Look at what happened with Miss Dew, for example.
Yes.
10 years ago, the Howard government sent the army into 73 remote Aboriginal communities in the Northern Territory, and it was a move many described as an act of war, officially known. Absolutely,
and it's still going on.
It's still going on, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I suppose there were lots of other panels too, weren't there, of elders, people that had been through the intervention, wasn't there?
Yes, there was.
Yeah.
A lot of people spoke, and a lot of people from all around too. One particular lady I remember especially came from Uluru. She's Mudajulu, and she'd been very active in stopping the nuclear waste dumps at Nuggety.
Oh, yes.
Deeply spiritual woman. Oh, so many of them that I met up there were, and the connection to the land is palpable.
Absolutely. Well, anyway, there was absolutely no consultation, and that continues to the present day.
None, and the military occupation continues in the police force.
Absolutely.
Like it shocked me to walk into a bottle shop and, like, there's 2 policemen and a security guard checking my ID. And if how many police is that standing on bottle shop doors?
I know.
You know, making sure no one gets a drink that they are not supposed to. And what they do up there is the cops will even wait for the person to buy alcohol and then say, let them actually go in and buy it and wait till they come out and say, you're not allowed to have that, and tip it out in front of them.
Oh, my God. Yeah, there's lots of bylaws about that here too. Oh, well, it's not as bad, but... Well, not that it's not as bad. It's a different form here in Melbourne. And, you know, Vicky, I just thought...
The cops drive around in utes with cages on the back. That's their divvy van. That's their back.
Yeah, the divvy van. Yeah.
The dog catcher van.
Oh, my God. There's an interesting synchronising thing here going on. Isn't it interesting that you and Dylan were on the same panel and now you and Dylan both got interviewed today on the show?
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed Dylan. I've just been flat out doing other things. But, yeah, I'm sorry I missed Dylan. He's really articulating.
Very much so. Very much so.
Yeah, and people are hearing it. And finally, people are listening.
Finally. And by the way, it's NAIDOC week too.
Happy NAIDOC.
Happy NAIDOC. And just for the benefit of listeners, NAIDOC week is celebrating Indigenous Australia. I mean, is there much to celebrate, but...
Well,
maybe I better stop being... No, but it is. It's a good thing because it's National Aborigines and Islands Day Observance Week. And it began in the 1920s, didn't it, Vicky, when Aboriginal groups started to campaign against the discriminatory treatment that Indigenous Australians faced.
Well, that's right. That's right. It's gone through some changes over the years, and sometimes I fear it's been taken over by...
I know.
You know, the Indigenous corporation type thing, but
yep,
we'll see. It may come back full circle again.
Absolutely, but I'm glad you mentioned that, Vicky, because you know we always have to question, and the reason why I like having you on the show is because you're straight up, and that's what I like about you.
Yeah, well, I'll probably say a lot of things that people don't agree with, but then I'm good at that.
No, good. Me too. Well, that's what 3CR is about, isn't it? 3CR is about, and in particular, well, not in particular, but the Doing Time show and other shows look at promoting looking at minority groups, and it's providing a safe environment for people to speak their mind.
Yeah, and we thank you for it. It's somebody who's got to be able to get our voices out there, and particularly people in prison, people who go to prison are not flavour of the month. Nobody, it's not a sexy cause to support or anything like that, and people will make fun of you, put you down, denigrate you for thinking that people don't belong in cages.
That's exactly right. Vicky, thank you so much for coming onto the program, and I'm hoping we can have more of these enlightening discussions. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. Nice talking to you, Marissa.
You too, Vicky. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And that was Vicky Roach, who's been on our show quite a few times, and we enjoy her perspectives and talking about a range of issues, in particular the intervention panels that happened last week in the Northern Territory. And indeed, there were lots of solidarity events that happened in Sydney also, and Melbourne too. And just while we're on the subject of NAIDOC Week, which was one of the topics we discussed this year, the theme is Our Languages Matter. And this focus is to emphasise the essential role that Indigenous languages play in cultural identity, linking people to their land and water, their history, spirituality and rights through story and song. And that was actually a direct quote from the latest mini news. And and so that was to do with workers' rights, that newsletter. And I believe there's a show on here as well on 3CR. Anyway, we're nearing the end of our show, but I wanted to just focus on talking a little bit about the Beyond the Bars live broadcasts that are happening. So we'll just go into an announcement.
You got to remember, NAIDOC's a special day for us, brothers. That's a reminder who we are.
Every year for NAIDOC Week, 3CR Community Radio gives voice to our Indigenous brothers and sisters through Beyond the Bars, Australia's only live prison broadcast.
I am a black man.
NAIDOC means a lot to me. It's about identity and also about past and present.
NAIDOC means a lot to me, for my family and my people.
And the people forgetting about our rights.
You can access audio from current and past Beyond the Bars broadcasts via the 3CR website. Go to 3cr.org.au/Beyond the Bars and either listen to or download audio from Australia's only live prison broadcasts.
Happy NAIDOC!
And you're back with the Doing Time show. It's approximately 4:49. And I just wanted to read out more about Beyond the Bars. It's a unique and one-of-a-kind radio project giving a voice to brothers and sisters on the inside from Victorian prisons and correctional centres. Tune in to hear the deadly solid sounds coming to you directly from behind the bars. Now, Monday has already been, obviously, but today, which is the 3rd of July, from 11 till 2 p.m, there was a broadcast from Dame Phyllis Frost Centre, and you can probably still download that audio. The Tuesday, the 4th of July, which is tomorrow, from 11 till 2 p.m, is the broadcast from Barwon Prison. Wednesday, the 5th of July, 12 till 2 p.m, is Fulham Correctional Centre. 2 till 4 p.m. on the same day, Middleton Prison. Thursday, the 6th of July, 12 till 3 p.m, Port Phillip Prison. Friday, the 7th of July, 11 till 2 p.m, Marigot Correctional Centre. Yeah, so I wanted to read those out. Not everybody has access to the internet, and also there is a listenership inside, and I'm hoping that that prisoners can listen to this show and hear that they may be able to tune in. And I'm sure there are lots of prisoners involved anyway in there. So happy NAIDOC Week once again. Thank you to our guests for coming in or for speaking on the show. Thank you to Dylan and Vicky and also Ken Cannings, who spoke about Aboriginal deaths in custody. It's approximately 4:50, and also just a bit of a reminder about Radiothon.
Want to support 3CR's diverse and independent voices? Well, it's not too late, and we still need your support. Donate now by calling 9419 8377 or donate online at www.3cr.org.au or post us a cheque or money order to Post Office Box 1277, Collingwood 3066.
Help 3CR support the rights of Indigenous Australians.
They mean to save our culture and save our dreams, our footprints, dreams, our songline, and keep our culture going strong.
Of course, a lot of the Aboriginals, having been stolen, were put into state care, and also others.
Recognition of what our people have been through in the last 200 years, the recognition of our culture in the last 40,000 years, and the recognition of where we are heading into the future.
Welcome to Survival Day, Invasion Day. 223 years ago, the white man landed on our shores.
Subscribe to 3CR and help keep Indigenous voices on air. Call us on 94198377 or visit 3cr.org.au. Subscribe now.
This is Irene Bolger, former Secretary of the Nurses Federation in Victoria. Throughout the nurses dispute in 1986 and the waterfront dispute in 1998, 3CR was always there, broadcasting the voices of workers in struggle.
You're listening to 3CR Community Radio, and we're broadcasting live from the Bay Eater Chicken Strike here in Melbourne.
We've just seen all of the thousands of nurses walk through to their meeting and people from different unions showing their solidarity.
3CR, radio for the workers, by the workers since 1976.
And you're back with the Doing Time show, and it's approximately 4:53. Thank you to Rob also for producing as well, and a cheerio to Peter who's not here today. So we're going to be going out presently with our theme song Black Fella, White Fella from the Warumpi Band, and stay tuned every week, every Monday from 4 till 5 p.m. for the Doing Time show. So we've got a little bit of time left. It's approximately 4:53, and I'm going to be actually playing two songs. Actually, no, we might not have time. I'm going to actually go out with an announcement. I'll say goodbye now. I'll go out with an announcement, and then we'll play our theme song, Black Fella, White Fella, from the Warumpi Band. It's Beyond Zero up next. Thanks so much. Take care, everybody, and I hope you enjoy the show.